It's been 36 years since Monkey World's founder Jim Cronin set up the Dorset Sanctuary, aimed at rescuing chimpanzees illegally smuggled from the wild. 9 frightened youngsters were the first to arrive, all rescued from Spain, where they'd been used as beach photographers' props.
They're okay, but they're not in what I'd call good shape. But in comparison to what they were when they arrived, it's 100% better, mentally and physically. Well, in your case, perhaps not.
4 of the originals remain: Mickey, Buster, Cindy and Beth, who live in Bart's group and are well over 40 years old. There was a 5th, but age has now caught up with lovable, kind-hearted Sammy, one of the park's original bachelor boys, who's passed away.
We know that Sammy was at least like 43 years old, maybe older, and you could see that he had slowed down. Having said that, he was always sort of a happy individual and always prepared for a little sort of game of chase back and forth, always loving his food. You know, his diet was sort of a lifelong ambition to keep him maybe a bit portly because he was so food-focused, but at least not being too fat. And, you know, one of the nicest individuals you'd ever know, though. I mean, he was just sweet as could be.
Sammy and his contemporaries were victims of a cruel trade in chimps. Many had been ripped from the arms of their slaughtered mothers by hunters, then sold on and used as tourist attractions. The chimps suffered horrendous abuse, both physically and mentally.
It just has such far-reaching, catastrophic effects on so many chimpanzees in the wild, and seemingly Jim was one of the only people that sort of embraced that concept and that crystal ball, if you will, that if this trade continued, it was a real problem for chimpanzee populations. And yet at the time, nobody in the zoological world really cared. So that's why Monkey World was founded. You know, we've encountered so much trauma, abuse, neglect on a scale that's unheard of in these guys, and we try and turn it around and make it right. And sometimes we're successful and sometimes we're not.
In the 36 years since it opened, the park has rescued 79 chimpanzees, and Jim's vision has become a global operation. But affection for the original 9 chimps is ingrained deeply in every aspect of park life. From the outset, Sammy was a big, dopey-looking, kindly chimp loved by his companions, as well as staff and visitors alike. He loved his food and was so proficient at gathering it up, the care team had to keep an eye on his weight. He didn't worry about group politics, often sticking up for smaller chimps or just wanting to play. And when it came to throwing, he had the best aim in the park. 10 years after arriving, Sammy became one of the original members of the Bachelor Boys, set up because the mixed-sex chimp groups had become top-heavy with males. He was integral to its success and remained there for the rest of his life.
He's been with the boys from the beginning, and, you know, his loss will be a significant one. You can say, oh, well, he isn't the alpha in charge of the group, so it won't make too much of a difference or whatever, but I would suggest to you it's even perhaps more profound because he was that senior statesman, the center and the rock, the base of the group. Everybody loves Sam. The chimps love Sam, and he was a fair and nice person.
But he did have some medical issues, including a large throat sac which needed constant monitoring. Following his death, a post-mortem revealed he had an aortic aneurysm, a bulge in the wall of the main artery. But the pathologist's final note was the most upsetting.
Sammy was covered in scars and lesions from head to toe from cigarette burns. And that was, again, just a a very poignant reminder of what all of our guys go through, and it's still potentially happening out there today. Sammy was just one of them who survived the abuse, and perhaps that'll just give me more fire in my belly to try and help those like Sammy.
Sammy's loss is a major blow for the primate care team.
Nothing's ever really gonna fill that void with not having Sammy here. He was just just a good person. Like, he didn't have a nasty side to him. He was one in a million, and yeah, it's just never going to be the same here.
Losing a big, lovable character like Sammy was devastating for the team. But because of the age of the original chimps, it's something they were prepared for. The next blow, however, was entirely unexpected.
Completely out of the blue, took us all by shock. Devastating, breathtaking. We lost a chimp that we had only rescued 4 years previous and was a young individual, estimated maybe 14 years old, and that was Topish. It just completely stunned everybody.
Topish was a member of Bart's group. During a particularly chilly period, a number of the troop caught a cold, and Topish's was particularly nasty. The whole group were under close observation from the primate care staff, but one morning, in a matter of just a few hours, Topish's condition deteriorated, and she passed away in one of the bedrooms.
She was gone. Just that quick. It was tragic, sad, unexpected, really hard for the primate care staff because she was gone. She was gone that fast. I think she was gone probably before she even touched the floor.
Alison's immediate concern was that Topish had COVID, and the rest of the troop may be infected. When all the tests came back negative, it was a great relief for the team. A post-mortem later showed there was nothing they could have done.
It was just one of those things. She had a thromboembolism. That means it's like a blood clot that blocked the blood supply actually to both of her lungs.
Topish arrived at the park in 2018. She'd been illegally stolen from the wild as a youngster and sold as a pet, before ending up at a zoo in Turkey. Before moving to Monkey World, she'd never lived with other adult chimps. At 9 years old, her integration to Bart's group took time. But she got there in the end, and quickly made her mark, rising up through the ranks to become one of Bart's favourite ladies.
She'd really found her place in the group, and actually, considering she was the newest member, she was quite up there. Like, a lot of the high-ranking ladies traditionally in that group, like Cindy and Beth, really didn't want to mess with Topish. Huge blow for us, huge blow for the rest of the chimps. I mean, some of them obviously grieved more than others, and there were some like Buster and Mickey who definitely were happier because she really gave them pair a bit of a hard time. Absolute monster, but yeah, she was a big character.
But the ageing chimp groups are a fact of life at the park, and the work goes on. 2 big personalities have passed on, but 2 more chimps needing help have arrived. The chimp team have managed to integrate the 2 new arrivals from Argentina. Kangoo is now a member of Brian's group, while his mum Sasha has moved to Bart's, filling the space left by Topish. Life at the park is constantly evolving, but it doesn't stop the teams or Alison becoming emotionally attached.
When you lose a friend of more than 30 years, it's harder to deal with, and Sammy was one of those. He was a good friend.
The staff at the park do all they can for every primate resident in their care. One of their top priorities is finding the animals companionship of their own kind. So it was a huge blow last week when Saki monkey Desmond lost the mate whose company he cherished. The team discovered his long-term partner Chloe had passed away overnight in her sleep. Chloe was 30 and the oldest Saki monkey in Europe.
She was a really old lady. She did so well. Sakis are meant to get to 20, maybe 25 years old. Chloe was 30. She was due to turn 31 in a couple of months, which is incredible. And of all the ways to go, she passed peacefully in her sleep. She was just a bit quiet, a bit slow for a few days, nothing major wrong, no big symptoms, no suffering. And we just came in the morning and she passed on her blanket in her bed, which, while very, very sad, so you can't wish for a better ending than that.
Chloe originally came to the park in 2016 as a friend for Jethro, an eccentric geriatric male. When he died, Desmond arrived to keep Chloe company. It was love at first sight, and the pair became devoted to each other. With no other Saki monkeys at the park, Chloe's death means Desmond has lost companionship of his own kind, as well as his best friend.
So it is a big change, and Desmond and Chloe were such a lovely pair bond. He was very tolerant of her as she was getting older, and she would just sort of wander up to him and just sort of take a monkey nut out of his mouth and things, and he would kind of let that slide and was very patient with her. They'd spend a lot of time sunbathing out in the outside enclosure together, lots of time grooming and things. So it's just a challenge now for the primate care staff to keep Desmond entertained in other ways, to make sure that he's not, you know, sitting around and moping, and he's busy and active and doing stuff.
Fortunately, he's not completely alone. Chloe and Desmond shared their home with Loki, a common marmoset, who seems incapable of making friends with other marmosets. But he's happy to tolerate Saki monkeys and doesn't object to having Desmond around. Today, Steph's giving them a selection of nuts and seeds in feeders and balls, designed to pique Desmond's interest.
To keep him entertained and to keep him busy, we've been giving him lots of enrichment, which he never really cared about before. When Chloe was around, he couldn't be bothered with that because he was just sort of distracted with a female. But ever since that we've lost her, we're noticing that anything new we put in the enclosure, he gets really interested in. So today we've got some ball pit balls stuffed with some straw, with some nuts and some waxworms in. We've got the same with little kerplunk tubes, and we've got a couple of hanging bug feeders as well that will hang up, and hopefully the worms will drop out the bottom and Desmond will help manipulate them to get the bugs out. And we just like offering him anything and everything at the moment just to keep him busy.
There's a medical emergency at the park. Local vet David Holler has been called in to examine one of Monkey World's youngest primates, 4-year-old Guenon Nala. For the past week, the normally bouncy Nala has been off her food and very quiet. The primate care staff, in consultation with vet David, have been closely monitoring her, and she's been given antibiotics to counter any possible infection, along with plenty of fluids. But she hasn't responded, and in the last 24 hours, Nala's condition has worsened.
We need to do some more now. We need to get some blood, see where we are. So there was a potential of a kidney infection, of which we started treatment for anyway. But yeah, we need to have a look today before she deteriorates even more.
The primate care staff have managed to catch Nala and place her safely in a transport box. They've just arrived at the park's hospital, where, following her rapid deterioration and failure to respond to medication, David fears his only option may be to open her up.
We've got to make a decision somewhere, haven't we?
Unless you've got any other ideas?
If we don't do anything, we're going to lose her. If we do something, we might. But at least we've lost her trying something. Having opened her up, found that there was some very, very firm faeces stuck in the ileocecal junction, so the junction between essentially the small and the large intestine. Fortunately, I was able just to milk it all through into the large intestine, clear the obstruction through. So hopefully now she'll pass that naturally, and we haven't had to cut into her intestines. Which hopefully means we'll have a smoother, quicker recovery from this. But she's going to be on the watch list for a good few days yet. So.
But 10 minutes later, Nala goes into shock once more.
It's changed slowly, she's gone.
She's stopped breathing, and there's nothing David can do. A devastated team can't believe it's happened so quickly.
You do everything you could, David.
Unfortunately, halfway through recovery from the anaesthesia, Nala's just passed away. It was all a bit too much for her. There was a high chance that she was toxic already, and that things were ahead of us, and she was doing that thing that primates do, which is fighting on and not telling us quite how unwell she was.
It's a distressing blow for the staff. But their main concern now is how will Nala's family react to their daughter and sibling not coming home. A few days ago, the number in residence increased by 2, with the arrival of a pair of 4 to 5 month old silvered langurs. Animal manager Ms. Fong travelled 120 miles to Ho Chi Minh City to collect them, after they were discovered being kept in a small cage by a street seller and confiscated by police. Despite being dehydrated and traumatized, the pair, female Danny, who has started her dark colour change, and male Diep, the younger of the two, survived the night, thanks to the care of the Dao Tien staff.
The first couple of days are critical. Generally, the primates turn up and they're actually in shock because they're fed the wrong diet. They've been snatched from their parents and they're sat in small cages on the streets. Noise, pollution, people everywhere. Very stressful conditions, and the body goes into shock.
The 2 silvered langurs, whose mothers were probably killed for bushmeat, are being bottle-fed with an infant milk formula.
Cho uống từ từ. Hút hẳn vào trong ngực, đúng rồi. Hút mạnh, hút cái ngực, hút lưng xuống.
Staff at the centre are providing the pair with 24-hour care, and they have each other for company in their temporary accommodation.
Hầu như là con.
Their arrival highlights the need for the brand new facility currently being erected on the island to cater for the ever-increasing numbers being rescued. Lee is there to oversee its completion. Until it's ready, many of the primates already going through rehabilitation are living in the larger outdoor caged areas. Danny and Diep are taken to meet some of them, in the hope they can become instrumental in supporting the 2 youngsters.
Generally what we'll do, as we have done, we'll bring them over to the species we already have here so they get that interaction straight away. It's part of their rehabilitation. It's part of their transition. And it's to make sure that they don't get imprinted by humans. They're a primate. They need to be seen and interact with their own species. You know, we can do everything possible for them. But if we do it and we do it all, they'll never be releasable. They'll just like people too much. They have to become a primate.
It's a short visit. The team don't want to cause the infants undue stress, but are planning longer meetings as their confidence grows. But overnight, tragedy strikes. Female Danny, the weaker of the 2, goes into shock and dies.
When she got here, she was very malnutritioned. She was really skinny. Although she looked okay, it was inevitable that over the 2 or 3 days, she lost condition. We spoke to our international zoo vets back in the UK, and we did everything possible for her. But unfortunately, it was too late.
It's also a close call for Diep.
We nearly lost him, but thankfully, with our vets, we pulled him back. He's now started to gain weight. He's now spending more time with our other silvered langurs, which is vital to his rehabilitation. But we've got to keep our fingers crossed. We're not out of the woods yet. We've got a long way to go to get this little boy where he should be.
The circumstances surrounding Danny and Diep's arrival are all too familiar. Just last year, Kui, a 7-month-old black-shanked Duke monkey, arrived at the centre, a timid and shy youngster in need of serious help. However, fast forward 12 months and his rehabilitation is almost complete. He's now living with other partially rehabilitated Dukes, including Anna and Vu, who suffered the same horrific start in life, being stolen from their families.
It's testament to the team and how the team work and how dedicated the team are, because he is now in the semi-free enclosure at the top of the north of the island in our 400-metre fence line with Anna and Vu, who have also been amazing in the tree. It's what we're all about. It's giving something back they've had taken away. The end result is what we have here today. So fingers crossed they continue to do well, and then hopefully when the time comes we can release actually onto Dao Tien with the family of 11 Dukes that we already have here.
Lee is hoping Diep's future will follow the same path as Kui's.
And a bit of breakfast. There you go.
With the infant getting stronger day by day, his future is starting to look a lot more positive.